The Chicago Bulls lose a heartbreaker at home to the Toronto Raptors, really bringing about a lot of the bigger concerns for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about that, plus the Bulls' recent third quarter play that just leaves so much to be desired. These stats are really concerning, and the Bulls' injuries continue to pile up. We're going to get into all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, guys. And I don't even know what to say anymore about what's going on with this Bulls team, man. It's just bad. When you look at the Bulls, you know, the fact that they really lost this game due to, in part, being outcoached yet again by Billy Donovan, but also just execution down the stretch of the game. In the fourth quarter of this game, we just could not score outside of DeMar DeRozan, who scored 13 out of the 18 points scored in the fourth quarter by the Bulls. We just didn't have much going. Turnovers definitely hurt the Bulls in a lot of ways in this game as well. There were so many turnovers that, you know, the Bulls just, it really hurt their ability to get back in this game. This was a game that the Bulls could have theoretically won down the stretch, getting the lead down to as low as 4, but the Bulls just could not execute. The Toronto Raptors stepped up where the Bulls couldn't, and we just weren't in a position to win the game. You get big nights from DeMar. He goes 8 of 17 for 25 points. He has 5 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks, 5 turnovers. Yes, a lot of players had turnovers in this game. Ayo Dosunmu as well with 21 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block from Ayo Dosunmu. But that's it as far as players in 20 points per game. It was disappointing all throughout that. And Kobe White, the Toronto Raptors were clearly trying to take the ball out of Kobe White's hands, and they were effective in it. He could not find a way to score. He was 1 for 4 in the first half of the game. He ends up 5 for 10, which isn't terrible percentages, shooting the ball 50% overall. He had 6 assists, 2 rebounds, only 1 turnover in a game where turnovers really became the story a lot for the Bulls. 17 turnovers overall in this game. And the Toronto Raptors won the points off turnovers battle by a large margin. So, you know, the Bulls just, they did not have the executables as well. And that turnover part of it was a major part. And Billy Donovan and some of the players talked about it after the game. They said this.
Billy, obviously the points off turnovers really jump off the box score. And it looked like in that second half, you didn't really have a lot of offensive options once they started trapping DeMar. What did you see out there?
Yeah, I think the turnovers, I think there was options there. I mean, they were pretty aggressive with him early in the game. I thought we did a pretty good job in the first half of moving, getting downhill. But I think in that first half, we also had 9 turnovers. Certainly the turnovers were a big, I think, factor.
Yeah, we had a few very uncharacteristic turnovers for us. I think it's the first time we used that word. It's tough. A lot of those also came in moments where we could have kind of came back to the game and things like that. And also some of those were where, you know, we made good, you know, passes and just wouldn't finish it the right way. So, there's a lot of, I think, mistakes also that we've made throughout the game on both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively, that hurt us.
You know, I think I had 5 turnovers. I had a couple turnovers, critical late. You know, I think AC had one, you know, when we was trying to make a run, but get back in the game. You know, every time I had the ball, the middle of the floor, screen and roll, or post-ups, you know, they came. You know, they did a good job rotating, forcing the ball out of my hand. We just gotta be more conscious and take care of the ball a little bit better.
And so, you know, I'm glad that they identify and understand what went in or how the turnover battle really hurt the Chicago Bulls a lot. The Toronto Raptors had 30 points off turnovers. The Bulls, despite having less turnovers than the Toronto Raptors, only had 14 points off turnovers. We just could not execute well enough offensively in this game to win it. We just couldn't have. And so, you know, it's unfortunate. And, you know, the way that this team plays and executes, and, you know, I talk a lot about coaching because I do think it's up to coaching to make some of these adjustments. The Bulls right now, they don't build off momentum well. We can have all the momentum in the world in the first half of games, but the problem is that we don't build off momentum. And unless the other team goes away quietly into the night, the Bulls really don't capitalize on those moments, because if you get a team that just fights, that refuses to allow them being down by double digits, get them down, the Bulls they aren't able to combat it. We don't find the mismatches very well at all. Nikola Vucevic is still taking too many threes. Vooch has been bad. There's just no way around it. The Vooch has been bad. Last season, one of the most consistent Bulls. This season, Nikola Vucevic has just been a complete bad basketball player. In previous seasons, it's been that he has his shortcomings, as every player. And I think a lot of Bulls fans focused on that. But this, it's way more than just shortcomings. Vooch has just been bad. Billy Donovan actually talked about after the game that he doesn't want Nikola Vucevic taking as many three-pointers. But it's like, then why do you keep taking so many three-pointers? Like, I get it with Vooch, but I don't believe Vooch is completely breaking the system and going rogue to the point to where we're just not he's just not playing within what the offense is trying to do. Stop running so many goddamn plays for Vooch. He says that they want Vooch to take three-pointers when they're open, but we need to find Vooch better when he's in the pocket. I understand that. I get you there. I feel you, brother. But at the end of the day, it has to be more than that, man. Listen, Vooch got to play like a big man. Right now, Vooch isn't. He's playing like a 6'11" shooting guard. Stop doing that crap. Go to the paint. And like I said in the post-game show, if you guys got to hear that episode, is that if Vooch between Kobe and Vooch, as the point guard, Kobe White needs to be telling Nikola Vucevic, keep your big ass in the paint, right? And I'm going to get you the ball. Again, the onus on Kobe then, as the point guard and the other guards, is to get Vooch the ball when he has mismatches. But then again, Vooch has to take advantage when he has mismatches. Stop passing out of when you have fucking 6'4", 6'5" point guards on you and take them to the rim. So it's a lot right now with the Bulls in this recent stretch of losing, just that they're just not executing well enough. But one of the biggest aspects that's really hurting the Chicago Bulls team quite a bit is the third quarters. The Chicago Bulls over the last 10 games have a net rating of negative 21.4 in the third quarter. That is dead last in the NBA. What does that stat mean and tell you? It tells you that teams are coming out in that second half and they are adjusting to what the Bulls did in the first half, and the Bulls have no answers. That the Bulls are not responding well to the adjustments that other teams are making, and thus they're able to grab that momentum back. And the Bulls, because we don't have really good coaches that are good at adjustment periods and things like that, we end up losing. And then even when in the games where the Bulls win and come back, they still have to, kind of battle back. They aren't taking advantage of their lead. So the third quarter is not just something that us as Bulls fans talk about that isn't tangible, that isn't real. No, it's very real. Third quarters for the Chicago Bulls have largely been the Bulls' Achilles heel in many, many ways. And until they learn to fix that meaningfully, it's going to continue to be a rough season for the Chicago Bulls. Sisyphus, right? Every time the Bulls get close to 500, crap like this happens. We got to get better at it. And we have an opportunity to get better at it tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the third quarters have been just bad for the Bulls. And the Bulls got to figure out how to be better, more effective in the third quarters, so they're not coming back in fourth quarters, that they're not trying to come back from in games that they had a double-digit lead on. We got to find ways to take advantage of that. And that's not just coaching. It's not just the players. It's the combination of the two things. And like I said in the post-game show yesterday, I know it's an oversimplification in the way that I'm going to say it, but the theme is the same, right? If you have a really good game plan, but the Bulls, the players aren't adjusting it, aren't executing it well, that's on the players. But the players as well. If you have a so-so game plan, but you have players that just have that pride, have that heart, go through the offense, right? Play well with high IQ, you can make a mediocre game plan look way better with execution. So those things have to mix and marry and overlap some. We have shortcomings on players. We got injuries that are piling up, which we'll talk about. And we got a coaching staff that has their limitations as well. But the fact of the matter is we're not covering each other's asses. We're just not. And it's making for bad basketball. It's making for bad execution. It's making for bad everything. And we got to find a way to rein this back in. It's not just the injuries. The injuries do play a part, but it's not just those injuries. And then speaking about those injuries, so we got bad news yesterday in regards to Patrick Williams, and that is that Patrick Williams has a pretty serious injury with his foot. And that injury is that there's fluid in the bone marrow, so he's not going to be reevaluated for another 2 weeks. Now, rest can definitely help with that. It's an excruciating injury. It's an injury that's taxing both mentally and physically. And the fact that Patrick Williams just didn't think that the injury is that bad speaks to how tough he can be at times. But that means that we're going to be without Patrick Williams for another 2 weeks, which set the stage for Julian Phillips to play well and having a role for the Chicago Bulls carved out. He played 20 minutes yesterday. He played a really good first half. Second half, not so much, but really good first half. He still did some good things in the second half. He just scored 9 points in the first half, into the game still with those same 9 points, so it is what it is there. But then during this game, we unfortunately got Dalen Terry going down with injury in this game. It looks like it's a sprained ankle per Billy Donovan after the game. And so now Dalen, another player that was filling in for you, right, is going to be sitting down as well. Now, we got some positive news yesterday as well as with injuries, and that's Torrey Craig could make his return Saturday against the Sacramento Kings. He's not going to play tonight against the Charlotte Hornets, though, so it doesn't help tonight. But this is a Bulls team that injuries are piling up at the wrong time. This is a time where the Bulls were supposedly going to be trying to make their move to get to 500 with some favorable games on the schedule. But it just, again, another thing that happens with the Bulls that we just don't, we can't catch a break. And so while the injuries are piling up, Nikola Vucevic actually talked about the injuries. He said this.
Yeah, it sucks. To keep losing guys, especially guys like Patrick and Dalen, young guys who has been playing well for us lately. Dalen finally started getting some minutes and really making the best out of it. And it really sucks to see him go down, but it is what it is for us as a team. We just gotta next man up mentality. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for us or take it easier on us because we have people injured. We just have to figure it out, for how much long they're out for.
And I'm sure that when you look at it, right, I know it's easy to say, well, Patrick Williams was only averaging 10 points per game. Zach LaVine, we play better without Zach LaVine per what it says, and then we have him down. Torrey Craig's down, but Dalen Terry's now out. But when you look at just the totality of that, we're missing some very key players to what we do. Even with Zach LaVine not really scoring at his usual level this season, he's still been facilitating, rebounding, getting some things like that done. Torrey Craig is the ultimate role player. We just know and understand what Torrey Craig means to this team. Patrick Williams, that foot injury, the fact that he's been dealing with that could explain why his play dropped off so significantly, because he initially played really well after Zach LaVine went down, and then it became almost passive P again. So injuries are piling up for the Bulls, but this is the time where, listen, no team in the NBA is going to give you any credit. They're not going to come in and say, hey, let's take it a little bit easy on the Bulls tonight. They're missing Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Dalen Terry, and Torrey Craig. You got to find a way to do it. And Billy Donovan's coaching, he has to get more creative with it. Billy Donovan has been a coach that is so hesitant to play G League or two-way contract players, to play our rookies. This is a time where he's going to have to do it, right? Julian Phillips, yes, played 20 minutes yesterday. Played overall well in those minutes. But you're either going to have to go to Terry Taylor. We're going to have to maybe see some Henry Drell, maybe some Ernalot Batum, maybe some Adama Sanogo, because we don't have anything else. And I tell you what, Javon Carter's been playing like cheeks as well. So really, if you did go to the well and at least give those players a chance and an opportunity, maybe you come out on the other side better, right? Maybe you come out on the other side better. At least at that point, you're developing some of your young pieces that are going to be on this team in the future. So I can't wait to see what Billy Donovan does tonight with the rotations. If he does get a little bit more creative with it, I don't expect Dalen Terry, even though it hasn't officially been announced, I don't expect him to play. We know those other players are already going to be out, but the Bulls got to find some way to combat these injuries because nobody's taking it easy on you. Nobody's going to have a pity party for the Chicago Bulls with these injuries going on. Figure it the hell out. That's just what it comes down to. You got to figure it the hell out. And hopefully this team can. And Julian Phillips, again, another opportunity to continue maybe earning some minutes for the Bulls. Keep in mind, that's why I say earning minutes, because this isn't something to where you just want to just give minutes. Earn those minutes. Keep playing well, young fella, and we'll see how Julian Phillips ends up playing and developing over this time. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think that it's time for Billy Donovan to get a little more outside the box, go to some of these two-way and G League players that we have to see if they can provide something, whether it's shooting, from Ernalot Batum, Henry Drell, both players that can provide some shooting, whether it's some size and rebounding in Adama Sanogo, right? Do you think that it's time for Billy during this stretch while we still have these players out to get a little creative with that. Let me know what you guys think down below if you're on the YouTube side. But with that said, I want to talk about something that I don't talk a lot about, and I'm not going to spend a whole hell of a lot of time on it because it's really not worth my time, to be 100% honest with you. It's just not. And so the rumors of the Bulls and the Warriors making a trade for Zach LaVine. Now, initially when I heard these rumors when they came out earlier in the season where it was like Kuminga, Chris Paul, whatever, I debunked it, right? I said that no, we don't want Chris Paul. I don't think there's a chance of that. But then as this goes on and the Warriors are seemingly becoming desperate, the Bulls may be desperate if they just want to move Zach LaVine. And we've heard now rumors of like a deal built around Chris Paul and Moses Moody and things like that. And I think it's like a couple of second-round picks. Here's what I'll say. If the Zach LaVine trade market has gotten so low that you're talking about Chris Paul, and Moses Moody isn't a terrible player, right? He's a player that still has some upside. I'm not saying this to crap on Moses Moody. But if that's the best offer that you get, and you're seriously looking at that and saying, this is what we got right now, let's go ahead and pull the trigger on this trade so we can get off this Zach LaVine trade rumors and nonsense. And here's what I'm going to tell you on that. You're stupid. The front Bull, if that's the point that it come to and the Bulls take this deal, you're stupid. And I'm not saying that it necessarily can't happen, but here's what I'll say. This rumored deal that started from Zach Buckley, I believe, when it comes down to this Warriors Bulls swap and flip, and Bulls fans have now taken that to add in like, what if we can get Klay Thompson? What if we can get No. At that point, just keep Zach LaVine. And I think that this thing has turned so much to where it's gotten now to the point to where it's almost kind of an overstatement. Like, the Bulls don't have to just trade Zach LaVine just to get him out the building. We got to stop with the trades, the desperation trades to just get him out. Listen, Zach LaVine is a very flawed player. Do not get me wrong. He is that. But he's not at the point to where you just need to sell him off for bits and pieces just to try to say that you made a deal. No. Chris Paul, Moses Moody, Corey Joseph, a 2026 and 2028 second-round pick for Zach LaVine. This is not a salary dump. That's not what we're trying to do here. No. This is a bad deal. Even if you swap out Moses Moody with Klay Thompson, it's a bad deal. No. What are we talking about, man? I get it. The Zach LaVine and the no trade value and all that stuff, it's really corrupted a lot of people's thought process when it comes down to this. But let's best believe there's a scenario in this where Zach LaVine is on the Bulls after the trade deadline, and if this is the best deal that you're getting offered, that's the best outcome, is to keep Zach LaVine, worry about it in the offseason, and hope that Zach LaVine is going to come back. We're not desperate right now. And if the Warriors are quote-unquote desperate to try to trade for Zach LaVine, you got to come up off that more than that. Young fellas, you got to do that. It got to be a first-round pick in that, maybe multiple. So I don't take this like it's why I haven't really talked about it. A lot of people ask like, "Hey, where's your video on the Warriors trade rumors?" No, fuck that video. No, this is a bad trade. We don't want to do it. We don't want it. Thank you. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. No, we good on that. Now, with that said, to end the show, the Bulls face off against the Charlotte Hornets today, and I do want to have like this overarching great analysis breakdown of what the Bulls need to do against it. You're playing the Charlotte Hornets. If this is a game where the Bulls can't come in and they can't take advantage, that they don't have heart, that they get outworked by the Charlotte Hornets, listen, you can take the 500 and throw it out the damn window if that's the case. I know that they have players back. LaMelo Ball's now day to day. Miles Bridges is day to day, but still. The truth still remains. It still remains. You're a better team than the Charlotte Hornets team. I don't care if you're playing on their home court. Take care of business. Get the dub. That's it. That's really what it just boils down to. And I don't like to oversimplify things, but the Bulls cannot have another third quarter letdown against the Charlotte Hornets. And listen, get this win, get it done. Cool. You got Sacramento on Saturday. Really excited to see how the Bulls play in that game, especially if Torrey Craig makes his return. But this is a game where the Bulls, the players, the coaching staff, they need to come in this game 100% fully prepared to win a basketball game, play the game of basketball. Yeah, they're going to try to do some things defensively to throw you off your game. They're going to try to trap Kobe White and get the ball out of his hands. But we got more than enough talent still to be able to take advantage of this team. We just do. And again, I don't say that to crap on anybody, on any other team. But we are a better team than them. Mark Williams still isn't playing in this game. I don't think per reports that's really their only 7-footer. They do got Nick Richards down there as well, so they got another 7-footer. But the Andre Drummond and Nikola Vucevic, again, I know I've been saying to the last few games and they haven't, you got to play better. You got to dominate. You got to. Nick Vooch, you got to get it together, bro. You got to get it together. We need better play from this team. And this is one of those games where we should be able to have the expectation that our team is going to play and execute better basketball against a Charlotte Hornets team that is one of the worst teams in the NBA this season. Get your stuff together, my friends. Get your stuff together. This could it be a get-back game? Could it be a game to get back on track? All that sounds good, but just go out there and get the dub. Get the win. That's what I want to see from this Bulls team tonight, man. Get the win. I would love to see, Julian Phillips continue his ascension. Ayo Dosunmu has been playing really well. This month, the month of January has been really good for Ayo. Let's hope he continues to build off this. He's been really good in the starting lineup in a wing role for sure. And we have more than enough to take care of business against the Charlotte Hornets team. We just do. And so I'm looking at Kobe. I'm looking at DeMar. I'm looking at Ayo. I'm looking at Alex Caruso. Looking at Andre Drummond. How do you set the tone tonight? Set the tone in this game and don't give it up. Don't give it up. Set the tone. Set an expectation. And that is one of the biggest things and problems with this team. We cannot have an expectation of a certain level of play that this team executes because they just don't have it. And some of that, yes, Kobe White's still learning. This is his first year as a main scorer on the team. There's already some fit issues with DeMar and Vooch occupying the same space and areas. But this is still a game where the Bulls should be able to take care of business, and having that expectation of this team taking care of the Charlotte Hornets shouldn't be a bad expectation to have. Bulls take care of business. That's my thought process. That's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.